Hi guys, so I'm at the Loft Gallery with Corey. He's a photographer, he's an artist as well. So Corey, tell me a bit about you. What makes you an artist? Because at the start of this, we had a small discussion, guys, and I asked him if he identifies as an artist. He said, kind of yes and no, still battling with that. So what's your take on that?
My take on that, okay, so maybe I would start like where I started out, which is that like my real background is as an accountant.
Okay.
So I spent like 3 years in university doing an accounting degree, and then 5 years doing an accounting qualification, and then I've also worked for 10 years in accounting.
You don't look that old.
Yeah. So I'll start with that because then what I would say is that it took me a long while to even begin calling myself a photographer. So like I bought my camera in 2018, which was about 5 years ago. That's like when I said, I really like this and I want to do this, so I'm going to do it. And I bought the camera. But I think like a year, 2 years into having the camera, I still didn't feel comfortable calling myself a photographer. And so now that you brought up like the word artist, so then I'm like, have I gotten to the point of being comfortable of calling myself that again? I am actually very comfortable calling myself a photographer now. But I think like I'm now like, and I do believe that the way I create is art.
Okay.
So I feel like having like now entering into the space of exhibiting, maybe I think that's me getting comfortable with being an artist.
Okay, and I mean, why I always ask that question is because there is a struggle that I've realized that many people have with calling themselves an artist. Some people kind of get through it. I could admit that even for me, but I have memories of drawing at the age of 3. And for a long time, it took me a long time to really call myself an artist and really my heart of hearts believe that I'm an artist. And when people, so I realize a lot of other people battle with that, especially with your background. I like how you spoke about it, where you spent all this time in accounting and then you kind of realized that you had this creative need, you had this creative desire to output work. So you went and you got the equipment, but it just wasn't enough to be able to really say, hey, I am a creative, I am a photographer, I am an artist. So that's interesting as well. I mean, do you still work in accounting and do the photography on the side, or what's the balance there?
So definitely yes, I do. So I'll come back and answer that as well. But there's something that you mentioned, like in terms of doing it from young. So like photography, like that was something that I've always like really liked, even as a child. And I remember like my mom got me this Looney Tunes camera. And a Looney Tunes album, and like we still have that home. Like I literally took all the photos with the camera. It was a film camera, and then filled up the album with that. And like even growing up, like I was the one like always buying the film cameras, taking the photos. During high school, I had like point and shoot that my mom bought me as well, and I definitely was a kid in high school that always liked taking the photos and was ridiculed for that as well, by the way. It's like, why do you always have your camera on you? So there's that, and then there's the accounting gap of 10 years, and then there's the like coming back to buying the DSLR. So it's like you mentioned, the fact that you were drawing from young. It's like I was taking photographs from young as well, but it still took me all this time before I even felt comfortable saying I am a photographer. And like I observe like now, like people come out of high school and be like, bam, I have a camera, I'm a photographer, quick. And I'm like, how did it take me 20 something years to say that?
Something about our generation, it seems.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, I'm not saying this is the reason why, but for me, at least growing up, and many other people that I think had this issue of really identifying with an artist or identifying with their creative form, is because all our life, while there might be some side of nature from parents or people around us, there's always like the other side of people telling you, well, art's not going to make money, you can't make a living off of that, you have to go into maybe a doctor, lawyer, accountant. Yeah. So when you're hearing that a lot, it's going to kind of, you're gonna weigh your options like, as much as this is a desire that I've had since I was small, and you kind of question, like, you were doing this before you even knew what it was about. It's not that you were taking pictures because you thought you could make a living off of it. It's not that you thought that you were taking pictures for any other reason solely than you liked it. You wanted to take pictures. Yeah. Even making these videos just today, I realized that it has to go beyond us. Like, what was this in us from childhood that what was in us to make us want to do these things? And you know, everyone has passion. Maybe people are passionate about accounting as well, but why isn't this side of things nurtured? Why isn't the creative side of things nurtured in a way that you could truly believe from the time you were taking all these pictures? Why can't you believe that you could have been a photographer? You know, why can't I believe that I could be a successful artist and make money? Why, you know, if a child was into, you know, what you call that kind of game where you had the Doctor game, and it's like this guy put organs in it and something.
Like Doctor Who?
Yeah, Doctor Who or something like that. Like, if I was a child growing up and I'm like, oh, I want Doctor Who, they'd be like, oh my gosh, he's gonna be a doctor. Yeah, there'll be celebrations, right? But as a guy trying to pick up a camera, or someone trying to draw, or someone trying to sculpt, is a different message that is sent. I mean, I appreciate a lot that my parents have nurtured that side of me, and many of the people that I've spoken to today and before, they typically say that their parents have nurtured that, and that is something I think we all have to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Your mom buying you that Looney Tunes camera and stuff like that, and I don't know, just kind of identifying that, you know?
Yeah, I would say that, I mean, even though like my mom got me the camera, the messaging still was never, or the nurturing still wasn't there in terms of like photography actually being a profession. But I would say, you know, that's probably something that she didn't even think of. And I mean, it's not our responsibility necessarily to think of that either.
Yeah, but she's kind of looking out for your best interests and what she's
like, this is something he likes. Okay, I'm gonna get him the camera because he asked for it. But she's not like there's not that further stuff that says, but this is something he likes. I'm going to get him the camera, and like there's this path that he can actually be on to eventually monetize this as a profession. Yeah, because then that swivels back to accounting. It's like, this is actually the part.
That's the part that can make you money.
That can make you money. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. And if you want to tell us a bit about your photography side of things now, about your photography, about your work, what are you passionate about? Subject matter. We have this piece right here. We could talk about it.
Okay, so like photography for me, like I really like portrait photography. I really do like taking pictures of people. I really like capturing emotion. And then like one of my favorite parts of photography as well is editing the photos, because I feel like through editing, like I could create an entire mood out of that. I can create an entire mood. And so I think, you know, between the muse or the model themselves, like the background and the environment, as well as the editing, like you could really convey, a lot of emotion. And I mean, like, emotion is very important in the way that I capture.
Okay. Yeah. So what kind of, beyond that, what maybe subject matter kind of inspires you? Is there anything that really captures your eye that you really think you want to, you know, I don't know much about photography, so I'm trying to figure it out myself. Like what's going on in your head when you
think really capture my eye. So there's a few things. From the portrait side of things, like I really do like capturing and conveying. I have this thought in my mind. It's one of the thoughts, right? It's not the everything, but there's this one thought that I have, and it's a concept that I really would like to develop and do. It's like on capturing like Black people and people of color and portraying them in ways that either telling like what their actual story is, or portraying them in ways that they've not been conventionally thought of.
So maybe getting back to you balancing your accounting life with your photography, like I think that was the question. How do you manage to balance?
Yeah.
How do you manage to balance that? Like, are you trying to be fully committed to your photography and live solely off of that, or do you think that you grown maybe so much in accounting that you're willing to kind of half and half it? I don't know. Have you thought about that?
Well, I think that that's kind of where I am now. So, for example, like when I bought a camera in 2018, I was definitely working full time. I had a full time job, working 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and more, sometimes every day, Monday to Friday. And like the way that I did photography then was definitely on weekends, or like I've been like just incrementally it's been good since then. So like I have this thing, like I have my folders and like, and I have them organized by year. So like when I go into each year, I realize that these folders have grown each year. So I've been doing like more and more shoots. So I think like that's a really good thing. And I think within the past 2 years, I did a few things. One, I left my job once and opened a company, which
is a company revolving
around photography. No, it was a sub company. It was a retail business.
Okay.
And I had to. That was just before the pandemic hit, so then that company went into difficulties. But that was like the first time that I actually said, okay, I'm going to actually take a real pause on accounting life and pursue a part of entrepreneurship. So there's that. And then I did go back to work after that in accounting. And that was one of those roles was terrible. And so I said, because this is a thought I've had, a long thought that I've had, but like each time it becomes more prominent that corporate life is not necessarily the life that I want to live. And so like I've been like etching away at that bit by bit. Probably not etching away because I'm probably bringing it on, so sketching. But like bit by bit I've been like trying to like find that in different ways. So like, but I would say like that time of opening the company in 2020 was like one major step, because that was literally me saying, okay, I'm done with this for now, but I'm done with this and I'm going to do it. And so now like bringing that into photography is like I've since gone back into accounting, yes. I went back into it in a startup, which was good because I like allowed me flexibility. And so over the past year I've been at that startup, but I've also had the ability to do like a lot more shooting as well. So I feel like now now I'm doing this with the two, and like maybe it's getting here now, but I do feel like I'm at that point where I really just want to like go fully into photography. And so having that past experience, I do think that is something that I could do. I don't feel as much fear as I thought, as I may have felt before, because I did like something like it once before. So yeah.
And you mentioned, so okay, kind of diving back into your photography practice, do you do maybe like commissions or photo shoots? People could come to you and do a photo shoot. Yeah. So you want to talk maybe about that as well? Maybe some of the shoots that you have done?
Yeah. So I would say that definitely I do like commissions. Well, I don't call them commissions, but I call them bookings.
Yeah.
Like I do shoot with people, and there are a few types of shoots that I like doing. The one thing that I really like doing is family photo shoots.
Okay.
So like that's an area that I do. And then another thing that I love doing is capturing like, I like doing like personal branding shoots for creatives, entrepreneurs, anybody, which I think is a great thing, because like sometimes it helps people to answer that question, right? Even for me, like I've done shoots with my friend with my camera so that I can see myself as a photographer, so that I can answer the question, am I this? Well, yes, I am, because I did this shoot as that. So like I've done, shoots with authors of books, of designers, of artists. I really like doing shoots with entrepreneurs, creatives, or professionals that capture you the way you see or you want to see. Yeah, so like I enjoy that a lot, and yeah, I actually had like a few of those in the past week.
So maybe some advice for your younger self. So you 15 years ago going into accounting, what do you walk up to that guy and what do you tell him? Do you still go along that accounting journey, or do you tell him, hey, take your time. I don't know. What you tell them? What you tell them?
You know, I think about that because I'm thinking like he could only make decisions based on what he knows. But now there's me now who knows more that could tell him something.
Yeah.
So I would probably tell him, hey, you could make money off photography.
Okay.
So, you know, like just pursue it.
Just pursue it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, we had that whole conversation. We started with, are you an artist?
Yeah.
Are you an artist? This is the question. Are you an artist? You went through all of that, kind of saying that you're an artist, but can you believe it a little bit more now that you're an artist? Because to me, photography is an art. For me,
I do believe it. And I actually do believe that photography is an art. So I would say one, yes, I'm an artist. I would say two, that I would say that because I believe that photography is art. And what I was telling you is that even in the messaging surrounding this show and the other show that I did at the Tonga Gallery, is that I really have been trying to drive home that point that photography is art as well. Because I do believe that in Trinidad, as an art form, it's not as established as other art forms. But when I look globally, photography is a very well respected art form that has its own spaces, its own mediums, its own circles and avenues for revenue generation or just appreciation of the art. And I don't see that as much here, but I really would like to work on that and build in it as a respected art form here as well.
It's something we're working towards. So even this video, this conversation, I'm sure we'll have many more, and we're trying to widen the scope of what it means to be an artist, trying to identify or break barriers of what being an artist really is. So man, I appreciate your time. Thanks for talking to me. I don't know if there's anything else you want to share. No, we good?